All right, hi. I have annotated sample two because it is the stronger of the two samples of procedures, and I'm annotated it to show you why it's stronger. So to first review, the yellow annotations tell us what is specific and measurable about this procedure and why that would create a successful replication of this investigation. So open up a force versus time graph and a velocity versus time graph tells me exactly what kind of graphs I'm going to be using to measure the motion of my object. Next, we have step-by-step or specific step-by-step processes to make sure that our investigation is being done successfully. So you place the card in front of the motion sensor, add 25 grams of the hanging mass, a specific mass right there. Press play and release the mass, press stop and fill in the data. So these are all going to be able to guide me through the investigation so that I'm successfully being able to answer the research question. Next, I want us to look at the pink. So this step specifically includes multiple variations of the independent variable while also addressing the dependent and controlled variable. So repeat steps 3 to 6 with hanging masses that are, okay, so the hanging masses that are 50 grams, 75 grams, 100 grams. So these are 4 different masses that we'll be using. That's our independent variable. It is changing, and we want to see how changing the mass of the pulling force changes the motion of the object. And so you're doing it with 3 different masses to see what the difference is in mass and force. The mass of the cart, the starting point, those will remain the same. So distance and the cart, the mass of the cart, are not going to change. Those are our controlled variables. It does not mention here our dependent variable. I'll come back to that in a second. Next, I want us to look at our blue annotations. The blue annotations are telling us that we need to repeat trials to make sure that we have consistent data that's reliable and that that addresses the possibility of error. So you repeat 2 more trials with the 25-gram hanging mass. So for each mass, each independent variable, you're going to repeat it 3 times total. And this is going to find the average of all 3 so that your data is consistent, whether one created a more intense response or one has a more calm reaction. So these are going to average in to have your specific reliable data. Lastly, we're going to look at the green annotations because they are detailing what data will be collected and analyzed. This is our dependent variable. Our dependent variable is what we are seeing. We're seeing how the independent variable will create a dependent variable. And in this case, the data, we see that there's going to be a data chart that we need to fill in using the graphs, and you're going to find the maximum amount of force exerted and the amount of velocity shown on the graphs. So this tells us where to look for and what to look for in our graphs so that we can use that data to measure our dependent variable, to measure and use as evidence for our investigation.